my name is Chris Bratt and welcome to Eurogamer's new virtual reality room, VR room. Not sure what to call it yet, to be honest. It was the games room, it is the games room. This is where people usually play like FIFA and Rocket League on their lunch break. And I'm going to have to put that sofa back at some point. But until then, this is where we shall be experiencing the future of video games. We're mucking around with a pre-release version of the HTC Vive, which out of all the VR headsets is the one that requires the most space. You're encouraged to move around and interact with your virtual environment. Can't believe I just said that. And as a result, it needs room. You need room to be able to do that in. Which is what I want to talk about in this video. I'm not going to use this to say, you know, the Vive headset is amazing and it changes how you think about gaming, because a lot of people have already said that. Pretty much everyone that's already worn one of these headsets has already said that. So instead, let's talk about the nitty-gritty details. What do you actually need to accommodate one of these things? How much space are we actually talking? Okay, so in this room, because of things like the shelving unit and the TV stand here, we've got about 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters to play around with, which feels like just about enough. In fact, the bare minimum amount of space you'll need, according to the instructions themselves, is 2 meters by 1.5 meters. And unfortunately, we came closer to that than I would have liked. So despite what I've just said about 2.5 by 2.5, because we're using things like these lighting stands here, which aren't completely ideal, the base stations at the top there should be pointing down at a bit of an angle. We're making do for the time being. But these lighting stands have legs on them, which actually reduces our play space. Whilst you're setting up the Vive, and I can't show that at the moment, unfortunately, you use one of the controllers and basically walk around the room marking a safe play space. And because of things like these legs, which we had to kind of avoid, our play space was reduced into a kind of square in the middle of this, 2 meters by 2 meters in the end, which, yeah, is much closer to that bare minimum than, I would have liked. And yeah, it feels like it too. In the Dota 2 Secret Shop demo, which I played earlier on, I was a little bit restricted in terms of walking around the shop and peering at shelves. In fact, I was coming up right up against the wall, even though it felt like I should have been able to go just a little bit further. I struggled to actually grab the light from the shopkeeper at the beginning because of that, and yeah, it's just a little bit too small. And I feel like this is more space than most people are going to be able to make in their living rooms. So that is something to bear in mind. Alright then, that'll do it I guess. Now comes the issue of trying to figure out how to talk about what it's like to use a VR headset via the medium of 2D video. I'm sure we'll figure something out, but hopefully you enjoyed this video or at least took something away from it. As HTC suggests, you really do need that 2 meters by 1.5 meters as a bare minimum. Arguably you want quite a bit more than that. And I think it's worth investing in some kind of wall-mounted brackets if you're really going to go for it to hold those base stations. So you don't have to rely on things like these light stands that I've got here that really do kind of reduce that amount of space that you're already restricted to. One other thing to bear in mind about this headset is there are a bloody load of wires coming out the back of my head right now that are attached to a PC over there, which I can trip over, and that won't go very well for me. I'm always a little bit worried about that. But you know what? It's still pretty cool. And I'd like to keep this room, please. Yeah, I'll leave you with that closing argument. And if you've got any questions about what it's like to use the Vive, the setup, I will try and answer whatever I can in the comments below. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Bye. I hope I don't look a bit daft.
この頃のゲームはシンプルなのでチュートリアルとかわざわざそういうものを作らなくてもよかったですね。そしてもう一つ大事なことがある。こんな話全部してしまうとなんか夢がないような気もする。いいですか？一旦します。